Why Caitlin Clark cannot play in WNBA Playoffs as Fever move on to face Aces in semifinals. The Indiana Fever pulled off a first-round upset, but their superstar can't join them no matter how far they go. The Indiana Fever stunned the Atlanta Dream in the winner-take-all Game 3 of their first-round series on Thursday to advance to the semifinals for the first time since 2015. There, they'll take on Aya Wilson and the second-seeded Las Vegas Aces, who snuck past the Seattle Storm in Game 3 of their matchup. Fever star Caitlin Clark, however, will not be in action for Game 1 on Sunday in Las Vegas or at any point in the series. The second-year star is ineligible to return in the playoffs this year regardless of how far the Fever go. Even if Clark were to be deemed fully healthy by the team's medical staff at some point while the Fever are still alive in the postseason, she was left off the team's active roster for the playoffs, a league source confirmed to CBS Sports. The Indy Star first reported that Clark was not on the active playoff roster. Clark dealt with a series of lower body injuries this season: left quad, left groin, right groin and left ankle, which limited her to 13 appearances and forced her to miss both the Commissioner's Cup Championship and All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis. She last played on July 15th, and though the team gave her every opportunity to recover, she eventually ran out of time. On September 5th, she announced that she would not return to play. "I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season," Clark wrote on social media. "I spent hours in the gym every day with the singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way the fans continued to show up for me and for the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I am so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot in the playoffs." Even when Clark was on the floor, she was not 100% and rarely looked like herself. Though she still averaged 16.5 points, 5 rebounds and 8.8 assists, she shot just 36.7% from the field, including 27.9% from three-point range. Notably, she had 3 games without a made three, snapping a 140-game streak dating back to her sophomore season at Iowa, and shot 2 of 35 from 3 on the road. While the Fever had championship expectations entering the season, no one expected them to be one of the last 4 teams standing after they lost 5 players, including Clark, to season-ending injuries. Chloe Bibby, Sydney Colson, torn ACL, Sophie Cunningham, torn MCL, and Ari McDonald, broken foot, all also went down over the last few months. The Indiana Fever had already written one of the most improbable stories in recent WNBA history. For the first time in years, a team once left forgotten in the basement of the standings found itself dancing in the postseason, fueled by youth, resilience, and a newfound national spotlight. And at the center of that spotlight was Caitlin Clark, the generational rookie whose range stretched past imagination and whose vision electrified every possession. But when the Fever advanced past the Atlanta Dream to book their ticket to the semifinals against the reigning champion Las Vegas Aces, one thing was shockingly clear: Caitlin Clark would not be on the floor. It wasn't due to lack of talent. It wasn't because she had faded under the postseason lights. It wasn't even because of an opponent shutting her down. Instead, it was the cruel, technical, and sometimes controversial realities of league structure, injuries, and timing colliding all at once. The injury shadow that wouldn't lift. Clark had been playing through nagging injuries all season. A jammed wrist here, a bruised hip there, a rolled ankle that sent a gasp through Gainbridge Fieldhouse back in July. While she rarely showed pain, teammates and coaches knew she was running on fumes by the time the Fever snuck into the playoffs. After the decisive Game 3 against Atlanta, team doctors confirmed what many feared: her left ankle, already taped heavily, had worsened. The swelling after the game wasn't just routine soreness. It was something that demanded rest, not more playoff minutes. Playing against the Aces' relentless defense with a compromised ankle risked long-term damage, something both Clark and the franchise could not afford. It was the kind of decision no competitor ever wants to make. Clark begged to play, teammates vouched for her toughness, but the Fever organization had to think bigger. She wasn't just a rookie, she was the cornerstone of the next decade. Sacrificing her future for one playoff run, no matter how magical, was a gamble too dangerous to take. The rookie wall meets WNBA reality. There's also the harsh reality of the rookie wall. Clark had gone from a record-shattering college season straight into her first WNBA campaign, playing year-round without pause. The physical toll was unlike anything she had faced before. WNBA veterans often warn, it's not just the games. It's the travel, the schedule, the constant spotlight. For Clark, that spotlight had been brighter than for anyone in league history. From sold-out arenas to televised every-night matchups, her every dribble was analyzed, every miss magnified, every win or loss turned into a debate. By the time playoffs came, she wasn't just physically tired, she was emotionally drained. And while her teammates rallied around her, there was a mutual understanding that the best way for her to serve the team, paradoxically, was to step aside and let others lead in this moment. The Fever's depth emerges. What shocked fans, though, was how the Fever responded. Without Clark as the offensive engine, the team leaned on its underrated depth. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up as the fearless shotmaker she had always been. Nalissa Smith used her athleticism to dominate mismatches inside. Aaliyah Boston, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, became the undeniable focal point, demanding double teams and still producing. And players like Lexi Hall and Christy Wallace delivered the kind of grit and hustle plays that change playoff series. Instead of wilting without Clark, the Fever discovered another identity, balanced, tough, and unafraid of the bright lights. It wasn't that they forgot her, it was that her absence forced them to grow. The semifinal test, facing the Aces. Now, standing opposite them is the ultimate challenge, the Las Vegas Aces. The two-time defending champions. A roster loaded with superstars, Aya Wilson, Chelsea Gray, Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum. A team built not only to win, but to intimidate. This is the matchup fans had circled since the Fever's playoff push began. Clark versus Wilson. The rising face of the league against its reigning queen. And yet, it won't happen. The Fever must take on the champions without their brightest light. For the league, it's bittersweet. On one hand, Clark's absence removes the storyline of rookie versus dynasty. On the other, it provides a new, equally compelling angle. Can the Fever shock the world without her? The symbolism of her absence. In many ways, Caitlin Clark sitting out these playoffs symbolizes the paradox of her rookie year. She is simultaneously the face of the future and a reminder of how fragile greatness can be.